Your AI sidekick has arrived. That's right. Turn off the bat signal because Blaze is here to save the day. Blaze is an AI sidekick for overwhelmed teams of one just like you. Brainstorm and outline content ideas with AI. Go from idea to on-brand content in minutes. Turn a blog post into 10 plus asset types, ads, social posts, emails, and more. Collaborate with colleagues in real time and get content approved. Go to drT23.site. That is DRT23.site. Navigate to Blaze and download today.
Hey, come on in and welcome to A Win is a Win podcast, where sports and everything else collide. Comfortable? All right. Let's go, Dr. T.
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. All right, we are here. I hope everyone had a good holiday season. We are in 2025. I hope that everything that you have on your to-do list for this 365 run, you get it done and you are successful. And many, many blessings to everybody. All right, listen, y'all, let's get right to it. We got a lot going on. Before we do, let's make sure we take care of the business first. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. And if you like the content, go ahead and tell somebody else. Hit that subscribe button, y'all. It don't cost nothing over here. We just like to have a good time and talk about sports. Hit the notification bell so you know when a new episode drops. And go ahead and hit that like button. It just simply lets the algorithm know, hey, the sister got a podcast over there. And it's all right. We like it a little bit, all right? Moves me up the bracket. I would like to say thank you to all the listeners. We have gone from having a very small audience to a bigger audience, and we are finishing up 2024 going into 25, sitting at the 84th most listened podcast. So thank you guys for that. And my goal this year is to jump us up into the top 50. You never know. Hey, we might do some things here at A Win is a Win. New things are coming to the show, so be on the lookout for that. And we will have Patreon starting in February so that you can get premium content over there. We will start doing interviews this year as well. And I'm going to do a segment called Listener Said What? And this is where I'm going to read some comments and questions that the listeners have. So stay tuned for that. Let's get into these NFL games. The Lions did exactly what Campbell said, and that was to go to kick some ass in the Bay. That's right. They took the W over the Niners 40-34. Goff was 26 of 34, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Now, the 49ers look like they said, you throw the ball, you throw the ball. And so Purdy, though, finished 27 of 35, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Quick question. Does Purdy have the right now to ask for more money? Interesting. We shall see. But if you ask me, not yet, sir. Calm down. Listen, it was the battle of the rookies, but Daniels gets the playoff berth, beating the Falcons 30-24. I have something to say about the Falcons in a second here. Penix Jr. was 19 of 35, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. And Daniels was 24 of 36 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Why didn't you call the timeout? If Eberflus gets the smoke, you get the smoke. Why didn't you call the time out? That made no sense to me whatsoever. And what are we doing with Cousins going forward? Okay. Because at the rate that he was playing and the money that you all paid him, you're going to be in the same situation as the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I'm just saying. Listen, Darnold is the man for now. in Minnesota, and they get it done 27-25 over the Packers. So how will this play out with Darnold? But first, Love was 19 of 30 for 185 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 picks. And Darnold was 33 of 43 for 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Do you give the man a contract? What do y'all say, family? Do the Vikings give Darnold the contract and grow JJ McCarthy behind him? You take some of that rookie money and give him a contract, because listen, yesterday's price is not today's price, and each day this is going to cost you a little bit more. All right, y'all on the clock, because I highly doubt you want that man to go into the market and then he's going to be gone. Just saying. Make it make sense. Throw the whole entire team in the damn washing machine because they're dirty. They need to wash away all the stains that's on this team and try to start fresh and figure out what you're going to do with Deshaun Watson's contract. And listen, okay? The Browns have always been dysfunctional. But this year, I mean, it was a complete catastrophic shit show. That's just how I'm going to say it. And anyway, they lose to the Dolphins 3-20. 3 to the Dolphins. Yeah. Huntley was 22 of 26 for 225 yards, 1 touchdown, and excuse me, no picks. And DTR, my lord, that man looks like he was a little kid that came from Pop Warner Sports into an NFL game and got tossed around left side, right side, front side, in the air. It was a cringe to see when he got hit. And I mean, okay, so yeah. Anyway, he was 24 of 47, 470 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 pick. The Browns in the offseason need to spin the block real quick and go back to Watson and say, I know you said that you were going to renegotiate your contract, but let's help you do it for you, okay? Let me do it for you. You're going to give us back a bunch more of that money, sir, because you are not the Deshaun Watson from the Texans at all, period, since you've gotten to Cleveland. So something's going to have to happen, because I definitely don't think that they want to take over $170 million something dollar cap hit and get stuck worse than what they already are right now. The Jags get the W over the Titans 20-13. Rudolph was 19 of 31 for 193 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. And Jones was 15 of 22 for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. What are the Jags going to do with Trevor Lawrence? And I'm just saying, because if you ask me, this is not the same Trevor Lawrence from college. Okay. And since he's gotten a contract, excuse me, he's not playing like he should. I'll just say it like that, because and I'll get real long-winded because I have a lot of thoughts about that. And that's another time for another episode. But anyway, what do you think the Jags should do with Trevor Lawrence? Jump down in the chat, let me know. Raiders get another W, but it's a little too late. Should have did that earlier in the season, fellas. Over the Saints, 25-10. Now listen, my question to you guys: is Brady going to stay with or move off of AP? What do you think? And I mean, of course, it's not just his decision solely, right? I get that. But do you stay, given the issues that took place with Devontae Adams and one, okay, he stamped his feet and had a tantrum and went over there to the Jets, and we all know how that's working out. We got Crosby, who's basically out the door. So with them two gone, do you keep AP and rebuild the squad, or do you just let everybody go and start fresh? Let me know. O'Connell was 23 of 35 for 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. Rattler was 20 of 36 for 218 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. This is definitely not the same Raiders of old that I'm used to seeing growing up. As a kid, it was Raiders Nation. If you weren't a Dallas Cowboy, excuse me, if you weren't a Dallas Cowboy fan, you were a Raiders fan. Bo Jackson, baby. All right. The Giants get the W over the Colts, 45-33. Richardson's disc is in bad shape, but he still played anyway. Flacco, 26 of 38 for 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. And Locke, 17 of 23 for 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 picks. And, the times that Richardson has played with his back, just hurting. He said before the game that he couldn't even stand up, and finding out that it was his disc, he still played through the pain. But, suiting up and still showing up for your team says a lot. But even if you couldn't finish, there's no wrong in that. But I would just say the back is nothing to play with. And when it hurts, you need to go find out what's wrong. It could be a disc, it could be a nerve, it could be a tendon, it could be something as small as your sciatica. You don't know. That back is nothing to play with, just like the knee. Go get it checked out. Now, listen, I'm sick and tired of this team. I am sick and tired of their quarterback. I am sick and tired of their diva receivers. I am sick and tired of the organization as a whole. And this begs the question of, will this man have a job with this team next year? Who am I talking about? None other than, excuse me, Mr. Aaron Rodgers. So he decides that he was going to bench himself against the Bills.
Oh, hell
no! Yes, he did. And guess what? The Bills said, all right, bet. And won the game 40-14. Okay. Now, Rodgers went 12 of 18, 412 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 picks. And then Taylor comes in and goes 11 of 14 for 83 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 picks. Allen was 16 of 27 for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns and 0 picks. And Trubisky, he got his minutes in, went 1 for 1, 69 yards and 1 touchdown. Listen, Aaron Rodgers has commanded, directly and indirectly, the attention of news media, sports news outlets, podcasters, and those who are just having general conversation at the dinner table about sports. Aaron Rodgers has pushed his way into everyone's conversation. It is time to stop. He is not the same Aaron Rodgers of old. And we are not comparing him to anyone else. We are comparing him to his previous self, his younger self. The antics that you are putting out here, not showing up to OTAs, which is another reason why Wilson wants to be gone, because you have no relationship with him or anybody else for that matter, because you just decided to go into the caves and have your dark month or whatever you call it and drink your ayahuasca and all that is fine. But then you need to stop with the football, okay? And even if you're not retiring and you're going to go somewhere else, then you need to clean up your act and stop the BS, okay? And take your little lapdog with you, Devontae Adams, so that he can further shut up. Because wherever you are, clearly that's where he wants to be, okay? The entire season was a shit show, period. And who was leading it? Rodgers, whether it be out of his own mouth at the podium or whether you're on Pat McAfee where he's scratching your back like a little puppy and, oh, okay, Rodgers, yeah, this is what you want to say and this is facts and all this all every Tuesday. Sick and tired of it. Go and do something else that's productive. Rebuild yourself in the off season. Do something that is going to make a difference on a football field, because what you're doing is making a difference in your personal life, and that's fine, but it has nothing to do with the growth of the team that you are on. And why do you think the Packers didn't want you? They were tired and sick of all of your foolishness. In 2025, the conversation stops. Moving along. So the Bucks take down the Panthers. Excuse me, 48-14. They were not playing. Young was 15 of 28 for 203 passing yards, 2 touchdowns and 0 picks. Mayfield 27 of 32 for 359 passing yards, 5 touchdowns and 0 picks. Whew. I mean, if you talk about making a statement and saying that we're trying to get to the playoffs, that's a way to do it. Some people say, well, it was the Panthers. I get it. But still, listen, the Eagles had a feast. Yeah, they did. They had a time and they feasted on some Cowboys, y'all. That's right. And guess what? Even though the Cowboys lost, Jerry is still delusional as ever. Yeah. I think a little bit of that is rubbed off on the head coach. And Micah Parsons is a groupie for Joe Burrow on the low, because he keeps talking about the man on his podcast, the best quarterback. You don't even have yours in your top 10 that you did before. Burrow this, Burrow that. You don't even need cheerleaders on the sideline, Burrow. Just on a bye week, have Micah come and put on a Bengals cheerleading outfit and cheer for you on the sideline, because it's heavy. It's heavy over there. And the Cowboys lose 41-7. Eagles went and got some plates and feasted on these Cowboys. All right? Left the bones on the plate. And I said, now, what y'all got to say now? Well, Jerry still had a whole lot to say. And it made no sense. I'll post a link to his comments, because for me to try to repeat them and to say them would absolutely make no sense. It is just that asinine. I'll put the link in a pinned comment. You guys can go on there, click it, and take a listen. Rush was 15 of 28, 447 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Lance was 1 for 1 and got a yard. And then Pickett was 10 of 15, 443 yards and 1 touchdown. McKee comes in 3 of 4 for 54 yards with 2 touchdowns and 0 picks. Can the Eagles do it? Do they have it in them to be the 2017 champs? Yeah, Super Bowl champs. Do they have it in them to make another run, y'all? Let me know down in the chat. Rams get it done over the Cards, 13-9. Murray was 33 of 48 for 321 passing yards, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Stafford was 17 of 32 for 189 yards, 0 touchdowns and no picks. Listen, this was a wild game. And then hold on now, because we're going to have an update for the Bengals here coming up soon at the end, before we end this segment. But it was a wild game when they played the Broncos. That's right. And they get past them 30-24. And here's a question. Well, let me get to these stats first. Knicks was 24 of 31 for 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. And the Bengals, Burrow, 39 of 49, 412 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns and no picks. 2 questions. Do you think that the Bengals have it in them to get a win this coming up Sunday because they need to win or they need a tie to get into the playoffs? Do you think they have it in them to do it? And does Joe Burrow have the best offense? Listen, Jamar Chase, and this is saying a lot coming from the team up 271 that cannot stand the Bengals. But you got to give credit and you got to give people their flowers when it's due. Jamar Chase is playing lights out. If the Bengals don't pay this man some money, okay? Pay me my money. Isn't that the meme on TikTok? Give me my money, or I want some more money, or whatever that thing is. Give it to him. Listen, yesterday's price is not today's price. And to think that young man had to take a $50 million insurance policy out because y'all wouldn't pay him. You already see what he did. There's no reason to wait. Just like T. Hig, pay the man. And y'all ain't got enough money to pay both. And from what I understand, T. Higgins is saying he would rather take a pay cut and stay with the Bengals. Figure it out, y'all. Figure it out. Because if T. Higgins walks, shame on y'all. Coach of the year should be Harbaugh. And I don't want to, it's not even close. It's not even close at this point. He took a team where you could clearly see it was a coaching problem because you see a difference now that he's there, to making a playoff run, not taking a year to rebuild the team and making a playoff run maybe the next year or the year after. He came in and said, don't need you, bring him in, let's go. In a season, give that man coach of the year, and I don't want to hear nothing else about it. And listen, they destroy the Patriots 40-7. Okay. Herbert, 26 of 38 for 281 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. May, 12 of 22 for 117 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 picks. And I don't even understand how they could even consider anybody else to be coach of the year, because it would be just, you couldn't. And you better not. So I'm going to say about that. Okay. Chiefs, do it again. And you know, it's got to come down to this, right? It has to come down to this, that Andy Reid is a magician and Patrick Mahomes is being controlled by Andy Reid on the field, because this is magical. Don't even understand how they keep pulling this off, but they do. They just do. And Patrick Mahomes' numbers are ass, but he's getting it done. And I'm talking about 16-7 and 3-6 and 21-22, and it's not by large margins. It's just that, like, some of these plays Andy Reid is calling, I'm like, what? Let me rewind that and watch it again. My question is what they have been doing throughout the regular season, is this enough to get them through the playoffs and possibly back to the Super Bowl? We will see what happens. Mahomes was 29 of 38 for 320 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. And Wilson was 23 of 37 for 205 passing yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. So, question: can the Chiefs three-peat. Do they have it in them? We'll see. All right, listen. And we have another game to talk about here shortly. There is no way at all that this man does not have MVP sold up, boxed up with the ribbon on, ready to just hand it to him. There is no way that anybody could tell me that Lamar Jackson is not the MVP for the regular season. Period. Okay? There's no discussion. Give it to him right now. Just give it to him. All right? And we'll move on from that. Now, I will say, Lamar, sir, good brother, need y'all to try to get to the Super Bowl. Okay? Better yet, you need to win one because all these MVPs stacking up is good and you deservingly so. But at some point, you're going to have to play lights out like you're doing in the regular season and the postseason to get this team to the Super Bowl. And a lot of people are saying, well, his rushing yards aren't up because he has Henry. But look at what he's doing. Look at his passing yards. He just broke a record on this game last night. Okay? Broke a record for the. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, all right. They beat the Texas Pete out of the Texans. You hear me? That hot sauce was all over the field. 31-2. Jackson was 10 of 15 for 168 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 picks. And Stroud was 17 of 31 for 185 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Give it to him. Especially when we look at the records that he's broken. Give the man the MVP, move on, and let's see what he could do in the postseason. All right. It was the battle of the kickers. That's pretty much what happened in this Seahawks game because it wasn't nothing else, y'all. It was nothing else with them and the Bears. I mean, if you stretched and you yawned and you took a nap and you woke up, it still wouldn't have been nothing going on. All right. Basically, the Seahawks beat the Bears 6-3. It was just a snooze fest, in my opinion. Smith was 17 of 23 for 160 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 picks. And Williams was 16 of 28 for 122 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, and a pick. What are they going to do with Williams? Because he came in with all of the hype. He came in with he's going to be the top quarterback and he's going to turn his team completely around, and it's been the opposite. So what do? I think, listen, some people are saying that, excuse me, the Bears organization failed him. Okay. But we also have to take a part in Williams and how he's playing. See, the development of a quarterback is something that we saw growing up. Everyone who was drafted in a quarterback position didn't start. You develop behind your current quarterback. And there isn't any time for him to develop or see the game and learn it when he's just put out there on the field. Okay? The way that you play in college is not the same way that you're going to play in the NFL. It's much faster. And these guys are much bigger. That being said, combination of the two, what do the Bears need to do to change the trajectory of this team? Because they have never done right by any quarterback. And we know that history to be true. All right, so Saturday night, it was 2 games that went down, okay, tonight. Browns and the Ravens, okay? Ravens just pounced all over top of my Browns. It's just not even anything that you can. I mean, we went into the game, obviously, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, such as myself, and you're hopeful. But when you have 15, 11 different quarterbacks playing your team is not going to get into a rhythm. It's just not going to work, especially when they're getting tossed all around. So you had Zap was 16 of 31 for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. And Lamar was 16 of 32 for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also broke records within that game. 4,000 listen, what he's done and what he consistently does throughout the regular season, okay? And what he said that he was going to do coming into this season. It begs the question for me to say that, the man has over 4,000 total passing yards. 4,172 to be exact. And there are still some people who think that he shouldn't be the MVP. And that's the question that I have, is why? Because I heard one analyst say that the MVP, and this is, I'm going to say his name, Dan Orlovsky, said that it was because we're looking at who makes a team impact. So, Dan, you mean to tell me that Lamar Jackson is not impacting or is impactful on his team? So you're going to put Josh Allen in front of him because Josh Allen is somehow doing something so differently than Lamar Jackson to impact his team? The man has a QBR of 70.5, completions at 50%, 217 yards and 2 touchdowns in a game. I don't care if it was against the Browns. And when you look at his total stats, okay, for the regular season, 4,172 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a QBR of 77.6. So some of the analysts, I don't understand how they still have it close with he and Josh Allen for the regular season. I don't see it. I don't agree with it. Just like I don't agree with the Eagles sitting Barkley. Makes no sense to me whatsoever at all. Okay? I don't understand that either. Now, Sirianni and company said, listen, this is more about the team. We're trying to get to the playoffs and possibly try to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think that was going to be stopped because he needed 102 or 103 more yards to get into or get this accolade for his rushing yards. Sometimes I don't understand the decisions that's being made, and maybe it's not for me to understand, but I do know this, that Lamar Jackson should not be any questions about if he is the MVP. All right. So when we come back, we're going to take a look at these college football matchups that are coming up this weekend. And we also, well, you know what? Before we go, let's do this. Let's go back. Let's look at some of the other matchups. And then the Bengals knocked off the Steelers last night, 19-17. You know, Burrow and Chase got busy and got the job done. And, we'll sometimes the team's way too late in the season to make a run. But the Bengals said, Burrow, every conference, he was confident and he said he and his Bengals were going to get into the playoffs. And here we are. We'll see. We'll see exactly what's going on. All right. So Sunday we have the Panthers and the Falcons at 11. We have the Texans and the Titans also at 11. Mind you, I am on the West Coast, so these are West Coast times. The Giants and Eagles match up. The Colts and the Jags are going to match up. The Commanders, excuse me, and the Cowboys. We have the Packers and the Bears, the Saints and the Bucks. Bills and the Patriots are going to go at it in afternoon games. We have the Chargers and the Raiders, and then the Niners and the Cardinals. Chiefs take on the Broncos. Seahawks and the Rams, the Dolphins, and the Jets, and then Sunday night football game is the this is going to be a good one. The Vikings and the Lions at 6:20. Well, listen, the wild card games are going to take place on the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th of January. So, excuse me, be sure that you guys are tuned in for that. And then the divisional rounds start on the 18th and the 19th. And then we get into the championship game leading up to the Super Bowl on the 9th. So when we come back, we're going to take a look at these college football playoffs. Okay. That's right. Are you ready? Because we have narrowed all the college playoffs down to the last four. And let me tell y'all, Ohio State is going to take the chip this year. Okay, listen. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Put the money on the floor. I already picked up the money that I told y'all to put on the floor the last time. Appreciate everybody who dropped off that bet. I got that. Put it in my pocket. Now, let's double that. Double the bet. We put 20 down the last time on the floor. I'm putting 40 down. Match me, and I'm going to pick that up too. All right? That's right, because we went duck hunting last week. Okay? Not talking about the video game. We hunted some ducks for almost 40 something straight minutes. Ohio State took the W over Oregon 41-21. Over in the next game was Texas and Arizona. That was a good one. In overtime, Texas takes the W over Arizona 39-21. Some controversy about that targeting. Was it targeting? Was it not? We shall see what the end result of that. If they're going to continue to review that play, it's not going to make a difference. This game is over right now. Penn State knocks off Boise State 31-14, and Notre Dame stops Georgia 23-10. So let's look at our matchups coming up on the 9th. We got Notre Dame and Penn State are going to play at 5:30. Also at 5:30, but on the 10th, we're going to have Ohio State and Texas. Get the coins ready, y'all. Okay? Taking all bets, putting them on the floor. Speaking of bets, here's the bets that we have. Go ahead and go to Dr. T23.site. That is DRT23.site. Hit join me on DraftKings. And if you deposit $5, you will get bonus bets up to $150 if you win. So here are my bets for our college football games coming up here. Okay, what do I have? Okay, here we go. So I have Notre Dame and Penn State. I'm going to take Notre Dame to cover at -1.5 and the under 46.5. For Ohio State, don't even ask me. They'll cover the spread at -5.5. And I'm going to take the over in that game, 53.5. Now, on that bet, if you go on DraftKings and you put $10 down on that in a parlay, then that will bring you back 97.60 as of right now. Remember, get the bets in early because the odds change day by day, and especially on game day. If you want to do two-man slips, go ahead and put your Notre Dame bet in, and then go back and put your Ohio State and Texas bet in separately. Put $10 on each one of those games and see what you come up with. Don't forget, anything that you bet on DraftKings or on FanDuel or on Caesar's Bet, be sure you're only betting what you are willing to lose. Bet responsibly. And don't forget, on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Looking for some quality betting picks? Well, download the Discord app and join our group Bet Masters Lounge, where you can get positive EV and arbitrage along with best bets and parlays. Download Discord now, send us an invite, and get in on the action.
All right, so let's switch over and look at some of these NFL bets here. So we have the Bears and the Packers. I'll take the over there, 41. For the Panthers and Falcons, I'll take the Falcons on the money line. The Commanders and the Cowboys, I'm going with the Commanders on the money line there. The Colts and the Jags, take the over there, 43.5. And the Eagles and the Giants, I'll take the Eagles on the money line, and I'm going to take the Lions on the money line, and I'll take the Lions to cover the spread as well. I would put, let me see here. You could probably do 3 two-man slips on this one, or you can get you a good parlay. I would say a good parlay would be the Lions on the money line, the Eagles on the money line, and the Commanders. So Lions, Eagles, Commander on a 3-leg parlay, all money line bets. Those are going to be my NFL picks. And while we're talking about the NFL, let's see where these teams stand. So in the AFC, the Bills, have clinched that division. They are 13-3, and they are undefeated at home. The Chiefs have clinched the conference at 15-1, and at home, since it is going to be their show at home on their turf, they are undefeated at home as well. The Ravens have clinched the division after their win Saturday night, 12-5. They are, though, 6-2 at home, and the Texans have clinched their division with the record of 9-7, and they are 5-3, at home. And then in the National Football Conference, the Eagles have clinched their division. They are 13-3, and they are 7-1 at home. The Commanders clinched a wild card spot. They are 11-5. The Rams are 10-6. And at home, they are 5-3. They clinched their division. The Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers have, the Vikings and the Packers. Vikings are 14-2. And let's see here. They are 8-1 at home. And the Packers are 11-5, and they are 6-2 at home. And then we have the NFC South, and nothing's going on there right now so far. So we will see, what happens in, listen, the AFC South, excuse me, and the NFC South, I just wish they would do something different to get these teams in like real compete, because the Bucks have been quiet obviously since Brady's left. That's the most action that they've had. But you know, historically, these are just divisions. I mean, you do have the Bucks at over 500. You have the Falcons at 500. So, you know, we shall see what happens. But as far as the NFC South right now, nothing's happening. And the Lions are 14-2, by the way, and they are 6-2 at home. That game is going to determine who's going to be at the top there. So when we come back, we'll get into just a little bit of sports news, and then we're going to get into Gone Now, because we need to get prepared for all of these games that are going to take place on Sunday. So, excuse me. Well, congratulations to Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson. Both have landed head coaching positions at the collegiate level. Michael Vick will be the head coach for Norfolk State, and Deshaun Jackson will be the head coach of Delaware State. Now, the two former Eagle stars are gearing up for an exciting chapter, this time on the sidelines. A few weeks ago, Michael Vick was officially named the new head coach of Norfolk University. Now, his former teammate, Deshaun Jackson, has finalized his deal to take the reins as the head coach of Delaware State. Vic and Jackson, who electrified fans during their time together on the Eagles from 2009 to 2014, are now set to embark on their coaching journeys at HBCUs. A new chapter is unfolding for Norfolk State and Delaware State as they strive to revitalize their programs and compete for conference championships, FCS playoff berths, and Celebration Bowl appearances. Now, of course, there can never just be a time where people are proud of Michael Vick without bringing up the fact that he did time in prison. Well, I'm just going to say this and we're going to move on. Some of the ones that bring up dog fighting are the same ones that hunt deer, and we are just going to leave it at that. How you get fired and you on your way to another game and don't even know it? That's what happened. Yep. Well, Mike Brown found out in the midst of a 5-game losing streak and on his way on a plane to another game that he had lost his job. And that's, listen, one thing for sure that a lot of people miss. You have to look beyond the sport, look beyond the ball in the parquet, look beyond your favorite player, and realize that this is a business, and the business sometimes is messed up. And you go from being coach of the year to a year later getting fired while you're on your way to the next city for, it's just, even coaches around the league had a lot to say um, about how this was done and how shocking it was. And then some people are saying, no, it's the DeMar DeRozan curse. And be that as it may, if you look at the history of how these owners and team heads move around, you can see that this isn't anything new. It's distasteful, 100%. But is it something new? No. Is it going to change? Probably not. And not anytime soon if it does. That's just, the nature of how that business aspect of sports run. But when you are fired over the phone and you're basically at the airport leaving to head to another game, horrible. Just terrible. Listen, Nurkic basically knocked the stuffing, the liver, the kidneys. He basically knocked the sonic rings out of Najee Marshall, and for that, he got suspended for 3 games. And Najee got suspended for 4 games, getting slapped and not landing his punch. But the good brother Kyrie said that he will pay his fine if there was one. PJ was suspended for 1 game as well, and that slap. You have to go back. I'm gonna try to find a video where we won't get copyright strikes, but I'll try to find one and pin it in the comments. Slap the sonic rings out of Najee. Woo, that was nothing nice on that. Sacramento Kings appoint Doug Christie as the new interim head coach after firing Mike Brown. Former Sacramento King players and current assistant coach has been named as the interim head coach following the dismissal of Mike Brown. Christie, 54, played 15 seasons in the NBA, including 5 with the Kings, where he helped lead them to a 2002 Western Conference final. Drafted 17th overall in 1992, Christie played for several teams, including Toronto Raptors and the New York Knicks, before finding success in Sacramento. His extensive experience as both a player and coach positions him to guide the Kings as they aim to reach new heights. Doug, I just want to say one thing, good brother, okay? Leave Jackie at home, okay? Leave Jackie Christie at home, please. Please, okay? Because we do not need her bringing all that basketball wives drama or whatever else you want to call it to the sideline, into the arena. Let work stay working. Please leave her at home. Okay. But congratulations to Doug Christie on getting the interim head coaching position. Ezekiel Elliott was released. And who saw this coming? Okay. He wanted to be released, and so there you have it. I just think that he shouldn't have been there in the first place. And sometimes, typically what happens is that teams will usually give veteran players a pretty nice send-off at the end of the season, but they just don't literally send them away. But somehow, some way, down in my spirit, I feel like he'll be back as a Dallas Cowboy in 2 years. We already know how that works. Listen, when you talk about an op, this has got to be one of the biggest ops out here that is a team owner, if I've ever seen one. Listen to this. The Bulls owner, Jerry Reinsdorf, is on record for saying this. Reinsdorf will not make trades with the Los Angeles Lakers because he doesn't want LeBron James infringing upon Michael Jordan's legacy. Reinsdorf doesn't want to help LeBron and the Lakers get better. Basically, in high definition, meat writing. High definition meat writing. Like, you have got to be kidding me. That LeBron James getting traded to the Bull will impact on Michael Jordan's leg. Oh, listen, I'll just say this. I get the aspect, okay, of loyalty. I get it. But he literally, y'all, is making Michael Jordan look bad with this one. Plus, it's childish. It's just very, very, very childish at that. Talk about an opposition, boy. Ooh-wee. Mike Tyson regrets the fight. No, you don't. I don't want to hear about it, Mike. I don't, because you don't regret that 20 million. And if you regretted it now, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. When he was asked how he felt the morning after fighting Jake Paul, he said to himself, "Why did I even do it?"
No, I don't
This is what he
remember the
said.
fight that much. I kind of blanked out a little. Listen, know what I remember? Coming back from the first round, and then the next day I remember Jake is doing some kind of, I don't know, what was he doing at the ring?
Oh, yeah, a little bow at the end. He bowed.
That's the last thing I remember. You know, but the day after the fight, right after the day after, I woke up and told my wife, "Why did I do that?" I don't know. I just don't know what the hell goes on.
What did you think of Jake's power, man, when you were in there?
I don't remember it. But my body was really sore. Yeah, my body, my chest, my stomach and stuff was really sore. Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, Mike. Whatever you say. But like I said, you do remember that money that you got though, right? Okay. Yeah. I mean, the fact that you are almost 60 and you allowed the fight to happen, it should explain why you did it somehow, some way. Maybe you needed to be financially stable. Maybe you need the money. I don't know. Always a fan and will be a fan of Mike Tyson. However, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. So it's a little bit too late to cry over spilled milk. Speaking of another Paul, we got another fight. So Conor McGregor and Logan Paul have agreed to a match in India coming up here soon. So Conor McGregor on X said the rumors of a bout with Topurio are false. I am in preliminary agreements with the Abani family to face Logan Paul in a boxing exhibition in India. Well, I have agreed. I will then seek my return to the octagon. Now, um, Dana White, excuse me, I'm trying to remember. Somewhere last, yeah, I don't know if it was before the fight at the Sphere, not sure. But Dana White mentioned in the presser that he's working on a fight for 2025 that no one would see coming. So I'm wondering if this is what he was alluding to. So we shall see. Now, listen, you got Haney and Teofimo. I don't never know how you say his name, but anyway, they had a little nasty exchange on X. So Haney said, "March, I'm back," and then Teo says, "You're a punk bitch." And to that, Haney replied, "You talk about black people, but need a black person for a payday, you bitch ass boy. Stay off them pills you love so much, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, too." Oh, okay. So listen. What I want to see is less of these busy fingers on pads and keyboards and just fight. That's all you have to do. Just fight. That's it. Okay? That's it. I don't want to keep hearing about these little jabs back and forth and your mama this and your daddy that and blah, 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 blah. And you're high and you're drugged out and whatever the case may be. If you can pass the physical and your blood work comes back good and you make weight, get in the ring and fight it out. All this unnecessary. See, social media has given people a platform to sit in their room or in their bed or sit in the bathroom on the toilet while they're shitting and talk shit through an app. Well, we didn't have that when we were growing up. Okay? We didn't. They fought it out in the ring and that was it. So if this is what all this just, you know, talking back and forth and all this banter back and forth that means absolutely nothing, because for the most part that I see, all of this talking goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then you get two results: either you get into the ring and you get a mediocre fight, or you get into the ring and it's just like little taps here and there. Nobody's really hitting each other, nobody's really fighting. It's a snooze fest. Shut up and fight. That's how I feel about that. Now, looks like Miami Heat has suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the teams, particularly the last several weeks. In a statement, the Miami Heat said, through his actions and statements, he has shown he no longer wants to be part of this team. Jimmy Butler and his representative have indicated that they wish to be traded. It, they wish to be traded. See how the agents always, put themselves in there. Therefore, we'll listen to other offers. Now, it was rumors that he would become a Phoenix Sun. He wants to come out here to the desert. But you got to think, Pat Riley though is old school. He's basically like Joe Clark from Lean on Me. He don't play no type of games whatsoever. And then of course you have other people are saying, oh, they only love you when they can control you, and it's really not about that. It's about handling yourself in a dignified way, and this isn't the first time that we've heard of antics from Butler. So hopefully he can get out of Miami, because when you are intentionally sabotaging things right now, that can allude to you sabotaging the rest of the season for the Heat. So we shall see exactly what happens with Butler. Are you shocked that he's suspended? Let me know down in the chat. We are going to come back. And when we get into Gone Now, y'all, oh yes, just please go to the bathroom, wash your hands before you come back, because this is going to be a good one. All right, Shefty. Now, sometimes you just got to know when to be quiet and keep the breaking news to simply sports and leave your personal business out of your breaking news, because now you done pissed off your wife. Gone Now. Listen, if I am asked a question, then I'm going to answer that question. Too much conversation, too many details inputted, into a scenario is not necessary. You talk too much, okay? And now you done got your wife pissed off. So basically, Schefter's wife didn't appreciate the information that he shared regarding some, I guess you could say, bedroom activity. And I'll get into that in a minute. And Schefter said that, first of all, I am completely shocked that this has taken a life that it has. All day long, I've been responding to text about this, including my wife this afternoon. My wife didn't appreciate the story as much as other people, I would say. I should point that out immediately. Some people enjoyed it. My wife, not so much. So he went viral this past Wednesday for not breaking a football story, but because he made a rather unnecessary admission. I'll just say that. When asked what is the weirdest place he ever broke a story, he said it was while he was in bed with a woman. I can remember being in Denver one time, and I was, well, how do I say this? I just spent time with this woman for the first time, and I got a text that Dale Carter was being suspended. Schefter told this to Clark on the football show. He went on to say, excuse me, I think it was for 8 games for substance abuse. So I continued to lay there, confirm it, and got the job done, Kevin, in every which way. And so you know what that can imply. Fast forward 24 hours, Schefter made another revelation involving another woman, his wife, Sherry Mail. And it turns out that she wasn't too happy that he publicly revealed breaking a football story during some bedroom activity as a young reporter. During a radio appearance on WEEE 1, 90 WEEEI, 93.7 FM. The show's host wouldn't even let him get to any football stuff before bringing up Schefter's post. Sex breaking news story. Adam Schefter, who had previously been married, has now been married to his second wife, Sherry, since 2007. The couple met on a blind date after Sherry's first husband was killed in 9/11. In 2018, he wrote a book about his wife's late husband, Joe, and he and Sherry's subsequent relationship called The Man I Never Met. Now, hold on a minute. Go on now. First of all, shut up. Okay. You didn't need to, you could have just said that you were in Denver and you got a story about excuse me, Carter was being suspended. You did not have to tell us that you was in the bed. You further didn't need to tell us that you got the job done. And if I was her in that moment, not to say that anybody needed to know me, I would be pissed off as well. Gone now. Shut up sometimes. So, okay, here's the second thing. The second thing is, why do you feel that you need to write a book about this woman's husband, the man you never met? Now, where are you getting all this information from? From her? So now she's mad at you for pillow talking, but she's pillow talking to you about her ex-husband enough so that a man that he never met, that knows nothing about him, never shook his hand, never had a conversation, is writing an entire book about him. Gone now. The whole situation is weird. Period. Stick to football. Only thing needs to come out of your mouth is breaking news per Schefter. And let it be about football or whatever else you report on. All this, the whole story stink. Throw it away. Listen, the House of Horrors. These two need to be put underneath the jail, burnt to a crisp where the rats and roaches are. Georgia couple adopted 2 young boys and then sexually abused them. They have been sentenced to 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole. That's not even enough. Their names are William and Zachary Zulak, 34 and 36 years old. They were caught after a defendant in another case said he received child sex abuse material from the couple. The boys were adopted from a Christian special needs agency, which has since gone out of business. They are believed to have started the abuse when the boys were 3 and 5 years old. Gone now. First of all, before I continue, the people at these agencies need to be brought up on charges because that is a form of trafficking. And you mean to tell me that since then you have gone out of business? Everybody need to go to jail. They are believed to have started the abuse when the boys were 3 and 5 years old. The boys are now 10 and 12. The pair spoke about and sent images of their abuse to 2 other pedophiles, one of whom told the police that they had offered the boys to him on multiple occasions. The both of them will spend the rest of their lives behind bars, pleading guilty to, listen to this, aggravated sodomy, aggravated child molestation, incest, and sexual exploitation of children. They were sentenced on December the 19th. Now, listen, I'm going to pin a link to this news story in the comment section. But first and foremost, all every bit of their asses and the people who were involved need to be put underneath the jail and investigate all these quote unquote Christian adoption agencies or the CPS or whoever is continuously allowing these kids to be placed in situations where they are harmed, they are abused, they are physically, sexually traumatized, mentally traumatized, and this shit is not going to go away in their little minds for the rest of their lives. Gone now. The United States government is to the fighting over who is going to be the next HB 18 or whatever you call that citizen to come in here and run these big tech companies instead of Vivek Ramaswamy and Trump and Elon Musk arguing about frivolous shit. Why don't the government take time and look at the children that's being abused? Look at the children that's being abused down by the border that no one is doing anything about because you could care less, because they're throwaways, because they're quote unquote immigrants. What about the children that are here in the United States who are United States citizens that you are giving to these sick ass individuals, and they are completely ruining these child's lives? You don't know what these boys are going through at just 10 and 12 years old, from what they endured at a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old at 3 and 5 years old. And then furthermore, what is being done after this? It is not just enough to put these men in jail. Okay? If you ask me, they already needed to be put on a hot frying pan and thrown in there like some bacon and fry them up. Because listen, these poor children will never fully heal from what happened to them. You know what? It's almost like the system, no matter what, failed them. They failed them the reason why they were in the system, and then the system put them in another situation that failed them. Okay? The emotional and physical pain that these boys endured. And you also have to think as well what these grown men did to make them be quiet or make them think that what they were doing was normal. Furthermore, this has nothing to do with them being a gay couple. This has everything to do with two sick individuals who did some sick, filthy, nasty shit to little boys. Gone now. Let's stop making everything about a race. It's always white people or the black people, or it doesn't make a difference who they are. If you mess with a child, your ass needs to be up out of here. And even if you think in Matthew 18:6, if anyone defends one of these little ones, excuse me, if anyone offends one of these little ones, it would be better for him if a millstone were hanged about his neck and then drowned in the depths of the sea. Period. Gone now. What did that song say? The children are our future. Look at the sick, nasty stuff that's going on in this world about the children, and folks are arguing about frivolous stuff. Look at the healthcare system. These kids can't get any type of healthcare because the government wants to interfere and take funding away. Okay, so you got kids that's going to die from cancer. You got parents and families who are scrambling to make as much money as they can to go and try to afford 15,000, 16. There's one pill that a kid has to take for a certain cancer that costs $160,000. And it's not just cancer, it's any other illness that happens to these children that the government is taking away. So if they're going to take away healthcare and research for kids, and they also don't have anything in place to protect these kids when they are molested and abused, gone now. Throw the whole thing away and start over. Throw the whole thing away in the trash. Because in the United States of America, it is unacceptable for people to leave their country to come here for safety, for solace, for protection from the countries that they may have been fleeing from to come here too, and we don't protect them. Furthermore, the children that live here who are citizens of the United States, who are taken from a bad home and placed in a system that is supposed to be beneficial to them, to place them in a better situation, gone now. It shouldn't be like that. And on the flip side of it, if you are someone who wants to adopt a child and you know mentally and physically you don't have the patience, you don't have the know-how, you already have your own internal problems, don't put that child at risk. Let them go to a family who's ready. Let them go to a family that's going to love them. And if somehow, some way you can get yourself together, you can address your problems, or you may not be a person that even needs a child, then do that. But don't be these kind of people. This is sick, nasty. This is some sick, nasty shit. And it pissed me off to the point where I felt like I needed to speak about it and go on now. because there's too many kids, that stories that are out there that's like this, who don't get a platform, who don't get a chance to have their voices heard, because it's still happening to them right now. That's going to end it for this week's episode, y'all. Thank you for showing up again. If you like the content that you're hearing, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And remember, I promise you it won't even cost you a thing. And while you're at it, don't forget to follow us on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcast, and we are on iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. And I'll catch you guys next week.